注がれた光の雨、瞳に映ったこの世界を守るため立ち向かう、それは心燃やすChainGuardiansセット。ネオンライトが市街の隅でまた霞み始めてる。決意揺らぎそうでも閉ざされた空、その鍵を壊せばそう握られた刃はまだ持て余されて、加速する共鳴が言霊を脈打たせてく。あなたと注がれた光の雨、瞳に映ったこの世界を守るため決 続けろ憎しみや恨みは生んでしまうのかもしれない正解のない世界に苦しんでそれでも
All right, and perfect. We are live. All right. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Really appreciate you all kind of tuning into the live stream today. We're here to talk a little bit about Infinity Skies before the IDO. For those who don't know, Infinity Skies IDO is happening this Thursday. It's going to open up at 3 p.m. UTC. Sorry. Registration does close at 3 p.m. UTC tomorrow. So if you do like everything that Sandra and I are talking about, there is a little bit more time left to register. All right, and today we have Sonder. He is one of the co-founders for Infinity Skies as well as the CTO. Sonder, how you doing today, bud?
Pretty good.
Perfect.
Great to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you on the stream. It's a little bit of a reunion for us. For those who don't know, Infinity Skies and the ChainBoost and the ChainGuardians team, we were both directly next to each other at Decentral Miami. So we've got the chance to actually meet a little bit in person, which is kind of a rarity in the blockchain space nowadays. So, happy to reunite, happy to have you on, and happy to talk a little bit about Infinity Skies today.
Awesome.
For those who are tuning into the stream for the first time, we do a lot of giveaways over the course of the live stream. We will be giving away IDO whitelist spots for Infinity Skies, as well as some stable coins as well. I believe we're going to be giving away about $250 worth of either USDT or BUSD. And these giveaways are going to be happening over the course of the entire live stream. So make sure that you get your questions into the chat. We will be looking over those. And if your question is selected, then you will be eligible for those prizes, either that IDO whitelist spot or the stable coins. All right, and then Sonder, obviously, we're here today to talk about you. We're here today to talk about Infinity Skies. So if you wouldn't mind, please introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about how you got started in the blockchain space.
Yeah, definitely. Hi everyone. I'm Sander. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Dreamview Games, and we're working on the game Infinity Skies. And like Ryan already said, on the 6th we'll be having an IDO on ChainBoost. A little bit about me and how I got into the space. I actually 1 year ago was a complete rookie to the space. I actually was more of the traditional game development space, where I studied at the University of Arts in Utrecht for the direction of game design. And I've ever since been working on games, developing projects, experimenting. And about a year ago, our other co-founder, Mark, he gave me a call to see if we could combine our passions. And for him, he's been in the space for quite a long while now. I believe 2017 he's been in the space already since. And we combined our passions, and thus we started brainstorming about Infinity Skies.
Okay, perfect. So let me ask you, was Infinity Skies kind of a concept that you already had in mind before you came into the blockchain space? Is it kind of something that was, percolating in the back of your mind, or was it something that you and Mark both kind of came up with as you were entering the blockchain space and thinking, okay, I want to create a game, I'm not sure what that game is quite yet? How did that kind of originate there?
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. It was at the moment a brand new concept. We really started to think like, okay, what's the most exciting thing about making a blockchain game? And to us, that was the ownership of assets. And we felt like, what better way to do that with a castle or a home that a person can have with digital property in there in the form of NFTs. So that was quite a natural train of thought there, and the main inspiration came pretty soon. That was from this old browser game called Habbo Hotel from the early 2000s. It was really popular.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's this concept of ownership and being able to own in-game assets. It's not new, but it's something that is just gaining a lot more attention because of the capabilities behind NFTs. one of our executives, Ben, someone that our entire audience is familiar with, he tweeted out yesterday just about the amount of gameplay and the amount of time that was spent for him playing like World of Warcraft or something. How he spent about 15 days over the course of his lifetime playing WoW, which is just absolutely insane. It's a really high number, but also talked a little bit about the prospect of being able to actually own your in-game accomplishments and being able to actually earn through gameplay. And the narrative behind gaming is slowly shifting. You notice a shift behind, the way that games were, 10, 15 years ago. I would go to GameStop, I would spend $40, $50, $60 to buy a brand new game. And then I would play the game. I wouldn't be able to earn anything while doing it, but it was pay to play, right? And now slowly that narrative is shifting more from pay to play to play to earn. Instead of me paying in order to play the game, I am getting paid in order to play the game. And obviously, the more time and the more effort that I put into it, the better I am at the game, the higher the earning potential, whether that's NFTs, whether that's in-game currencies. So you made the right choice getting into this space, and getting into this space relatively early, I would say, because in my personal opinion, obviously not financial advice, this is the way that games will start trending in the future. And obviously, you're even seeing it more and more nowadays with traditional games trying to make their games more, free to play, and just making it so people don't have to pay this astronomical upfront cost to play the game, but obviously having, certain microtransactions within the game and making it, more accessible for certain users to get in. But if you want to level up, if you want to rank up and be able to earn more throughout the game, then there are certain things that you can do, right? So let's talk a little bit about the vision behind Infinities, guys. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the creation, but if you wouldn't mind, let's talk about the vision. What's kind of the short-term and the long-term vision that you yourself and the rest of the co-founders have for Infinities, guys?
Yeah, so the short-term vision for Infinity Skies is to first get our token out there in January. On the 13th, it will be generated, and the IDO on the 6th, of course. And we do this not just as the token on its own. We do this alongside a playable demo of the game as well. It won't be connected to the blockchain yet. It won't have a multiplayer yet, but it's definitely kind of this building experience that we're trying to create in the vinyl version that we're planning to launch in the second quarter of the of this year.
Okay.
So that's really the short-term goal: getting this token out, getting this demo out, and then making sure that with those things we can start building up our community. Making people excited for what's to come in the second quarter, and also we'll be releasing some of our dApps in the first quarter, and we'll be doing a land sale also pretty soon. So there's still some exciting things happening up till the second quarter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you already mentioned it right there. One of the things that I know our community gets most excited about is you mentioned those two words, land sale. So I don't know if that's a little bit of alpha, if we are the first to get that kind of exclusive sneak peek, but take note of that, everybody. Land sale coming to Infinity Skies. Really excited to see what the development is like there. I do have a question from the chat that I am a little bit curious to get your opinion on here. One of our community members, Emmanuel, asks, have you been inspired by certain projects in order to create Infinity Skies? So, are there other, either blockchain games or traditional games that inspired you to create your new project?
Yeah, loads of them. We really make a mix mash of a lot of different games out there. We've been taking inspiration from, like I said already, one of the main inspirations initially, at least, was Habbo Hotel. But as we started developing, more and more inspiration also came from The Sims, where our entire building system is very much similar to how it works in The Sims. But then we took the socializing aspect of what you had in Habbo Hotel in this browsing game. And from there, we also started developing our adventure mode, which is more of this combat-focused aspect of the game. And for that, we took inspiration from something completely different. For example, Diablo and Hades were the main inspirations there.
Yeah, I saw someone posting about that. I think it was like username LeBron Gaines. He's one of your
Yeah.
bigger followers on Twitter. I saw him posting about that. Just the inspiration behind Hades and Diablo, and taking that and infusing that kind of into your game, and obviously making the game your own from there. Yeah, it's a really exciting concept. I know a lot of people are familiar with Diablo, so that's one of those kind of trigger words that tells people, oh, I need to pay attention, because if it's anything like Diablo was, then or just the inspirations taken from Diablo, it's going to generate a lot of users. And I think especially with more people coming in from the traditional gaming space, a lot of people, they are looking for new and innovative games that completely shift their gaming experience. And obviously with the aspect of free to play, play to earn, more people are being attracted into the space. But they're also looking for that kind of real world comparison, right? Let's say that I'm a player of World of Warcraft or Halo or League of Legends. I'm going to look for games that are at least somewhat similar to my interests, and having those kind of real world comparisons to kind of tell people, hey, this is kind of where we take the inspiration from our game. It's a little bit similar to this, a little bit similar to this. Then it does give people a little bit more of a reason to just look at that and go, hey, I need to pay attention, and maybe this is going to be a game that I can really dig in deep to, and spend countless hours of gameplay. Kind of alluding to what I mentioned earlier with Ben's post yesterday, that 15 days worth of gameplay from World of Warcraft back in the day. So I think that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that game that they can grind for hours and hours and hours, and obviously now being able to use that and play to earn, whether it's earning tokens or whether it's earning NFTs. So kind of segueing onto my next question. I know that with Infinity Skies, everything that you use to build a castle is an NFT. The NFTs are the key components in order to build a castle. You can take these different NFTs and you can build as big of a castle as you want. As you guys have mentioned countlessly on your social media, the sky is the limit, right? But I did want to ask you, how will users be able to acquire these NFTs? Will it be through a marketplace? Will it be through gameplay? And what different components to castles can users expect to see as NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. I hinted at this already a little bit with the mention of the adventure mode that is inspired by Diablo and Hades. This is actually the main way of how these NFTs get into circulation. Because in this adventure mode, you'll be fighting monsters, and as you defeat those monsters, they will drop Valor.
Okay.
And Valor is kind of a currency on its own. It's not tradable in order to prevent pay to win elements. But it's a currency that you can accumulate and then use to make NFTs with. So as you progress through this kind of hack and slash experience, you get to further and further stages, and as you go, the difficulty increases, but also the rewards of Valor points increases. And at some point, you're gonna have to decide: am I gonna quit, because it is an endless kind of gameplay loop. So you're gonna have to decide: am I gonna quit, or am I gonna push it even further? If you die along the way, you lose 50% of accumulated Valor points. So it's kind of a really risky versus reward balancing act there, where you really have to judge how confident you are in the build of your character that you've created during those stages, with the equipments that you found, the abilities that you found, and kind of also have to guess on what is effective against what kind of enemies. So it really ties into that really well. So I'm really excited for this adventure mode. I can keep on talking for hours, but that's the main way to obtain NFTs in this ecosystem. There's of course also the possibility to obtain these decoration NFTs from our marketplace, and that's actually where the Skyblock token is also the exclusive token where people can use that token to trade with others.
Okay, perfect. And I do want to touch briefly on something that you mentioned there. How the abilities for your character, they can shift and they can alter over time, right?
Yes.
And I saw something on your social media that got me a little bit curious a couple days ago, is the fact that your character and your character's journey is going to be different the more that you play through the game. And as your character develops, obviously your castle would develop as well, but
Hmm.
it might start off one way, it might change along the way. So how exactly would that work for different characters? And how would these how would these characters have shifts in their journey and their story? How
Yeah, yeah, this is actually done through a couple of ways. There's a progression system within the adventure mode, and then there's a persistent progression system
Okay.
for your character as well. And then there's, of course, the narrative. I would say those three are kind of the holy trinity of how this progression works, where the narrative is really what you learn about your character as you move through these different trials. You
Mhm.
basically get a different story for each and every one of those trials. For example, we'll be starting off with what's called the trial of the soul, where
Okay.
you'll be diving into essentially the soul of your character, trying to unlock pieces of your past. And then the next trial after that, in a couple of updates, there will be the trial of the body, the trial of the mind, and through this you'll unlock like this entire backstory for your character. Um, the adventure mode progression is essentially only within the adventure mode. So
Okay.
any weapon you find, any ability that you find, you only have for that specific run until you decide to quit or you die. Um, so that's done in a kind of roguelite fashion, where there is a kind of replayability to constantly having to start back over, uh, build up a power base again until you're confident to fight the boss and whatnot. And then there's lastly the persistent progression, and this is more focused around achievements, ranks, and titles. So there's actually going to be a fairly similar achievement system to what players from World of Warcraft might recognize, where you have this kind of ledger book with all these badges of achievements that you can gather, and overall they will give you a total amount of achievement points, and you'll be able to unlock titles from that as well. And there's also character experience that kind of goes up, and as you level up, you gain new ranks, which give you new permissions. For example, you need to be a certain rank until you can vote on other castles.
Okay, perfect. Now, I do have a question from the chat here that I am really curious to ask you. From one of our community members, Champion Ignite, they ask, would there be guilds within Infinity Skies? And they want to know what kind of different social interactions will users be able to do while they're playing the game.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely going to be guilds. We have actually thought of a system on how we can make guilds actually part of the gameplay as well. First and foremost, of course a tool for socialization. So
Mhm.
building up a community together with friends, all within the same kind of environment, in the same kind of guild. That's the main utility, of course, so that you can easily contact some of your friends or guild members, have them over at your castle, and interact there with each other. Um, but there's also kind of a couple of more fun things about guilds in our game.
Okay.
The first thing that's interesting about guilds is how it ties into the land system, where our world map is it's kind of based on this ring system, where you have the most central ring, and there's a bunch of coordinates there, and people can own plots of land there, and have their islands there. And if you, as a guild, have a couple of guild members that are adjacent to each other, that have these specific coordinates that are adjacent to each other, it actually shows a territory overlay on that world map, so you can kind of start to accumulate the neighboring coordinates from the marketplace from other players. And as such, you'll start to grow your guild territory. It will show bigger on the map, with your own guild logo, your own guild name, showing nice and big that you own a chunk of the world map. So that's really cool. But then there's also a ranking system that ranks guilds against each other, and this is based on the votes that guild members get on their castles. So there's an individual leaderboard for each and every person individually. They are ranked against each other based on how many votes they gain each month from visitors. But there's also a guild ranking leaderboard, and this is all the votes added up together. And instead of NFTs as a reward, it's actually Skyblocks that are rewarded to all the guild members in a fair way. So that's really interesting. Even if you're just starting out and you're joining this guild, you get a chance to participate in that leaderboard system, and your votes do matter in that sense.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's honestly, I love that question from Champion Ignite and Champion Ignite. Please do provide your Twitter handle, Emmanuel, if you haven't done that as well, because the prizes that you guys are winning right now, you want IDO whitelist spots. So make sure that you put your Twitter handles in the chat there. But I love that question because a lot more people that I'm seeing when they're talking about blockchain games is they're looking for ways to do that with their friends, either through this kind of PvP style battle format, or they're looking for ways to integrate guilds and to create a guild, be able to play with your friends. So that way it's not so isolating in gameplay where it's just kind of me logging on and playing and there's no kind of social interaction and no way to play with my friends. Is they're looking for ways to interact with their friends and play the game with their friends. And me personally, I think about all the games that I've absolutely just sunk my teeth in over the course of the years. And the games that I've played the absolute most are the ones that I've been able to play it with my friends. So this installation of guilds and being able to have that social interaction is just so important for people who are looking for that game where they can just absolutely grind, sink their teeth into, and play it for hours and hours, days and days on end. So very happy to hear that you guys are going to be instilling guilds into the game. Very excited to see kind of when that happens and the way that looks once we can actually get into the game and kind of start moving around and playing with that. So
yeah, definitely.
So kind of moving on from that, obviously we are here to talk about the Infinity Skies IDO. People are very excited for it. I see the social interactions that we have with Infinity Skies on Twitter, and there are a lot of people that are really excited for this IDO. Now, with that, there are a lot of questions about token utility that kind of float around when IDOs come out. Is how will I be able to utilize this token in the ecosystem? How will I be able to earn the token? So let's talk a little bit about that, about the utility of the ISKY token. How will users be enabled to use it within the ecosystem, and then also how will users be able to earn that through gameplay? So let's talk a little bit about that there.
Yeah, so the main utility of this token is our marketplace. Our marketplace is gonna come out in the first quarter of this year.
Okay.
And it's gonna be the token is gonna be the exclusive currency that can be used on that marketplace to trade with other people for these NFTs that you have in game. And what's interesting about this is that our marketplace is specifically tailored to have the best user experience and best searchability of assets of any marketplace out there, of course, because we have like over 500 assets on launch, and there will be coming more and more and more each season that we bring out. So there will be a lot of assets to filter through, to search through, and our marketplace will definitely be the place to go if you want to find specific assets of our ecosystem. So this is the main utility of the Skyblock token,
Okay.
being able to trade with other players. Then there's also some side utility in the crafting system, where crafting certain assets from one rarity to one rarity up will require you to have some Skyblocks that you can burn in that process.
Okay, perfect. So being able to to do exactly that, and then also to utilize it on the marketplace in order to trade with different users, kind of being the main utilities there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, perfect. I do have a question from the chat that I want to ask you. Deborah Brada, they ask, is there going to be a plan for multi-chain support? So with Infinity Skies is primarily building on Polygon, right?
Yeah.
But are there any plans for that kind of multi-chain support in the future for users to either utilize the token on like Binance Smart Chain or Ethereum, anything like that, kind of moving forward?
Yeah, this is definitely something that we're looking into for the future, because we want to make sure that we reach as much people as we can, and have them adopt our ecosystem, and enjoy our game.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mentioned this a lot on our live streams, but I do think it's absolutely crucial in order to help grow your user base and make it so you are, acquiring the most amount of players possible. Easiest usability is to have that kind of cross-chain compatibility and that cross-chain support, because as far as I can tell right now, there isn't one blockchain to rule them all. There are obviously a lot of people, they have preferences. Some people prefer Ethereum, some people prefer Polygon, Binance Smart Chain. And if anything outside of that, they're not necessarily willing to operate. Or they're looking for that different option. Maybe they have a blockchain that they use primarily for transactions, but they're not totally happy with it. So being able to have that multi-chain support is just so crucial in order to grow your audience. So happy to hear you talk a little bit about that. Now, now, kind of the last question that I have, I do want to get into some more audience questions here. But the last question that I have, I want to talk a little bit about the future for Infinity Skies. So, talking about that long-term vision, I know in blockchain, everything is very, very quick moving, and 6 months in the blockchain space could be a year, 2 years, 3 years in the traditional space, right? But I do want to hear about kind of the long-term vision there. So post IDO, I know that you mentioned that the Infinity Skies land sale is going to be happening. We're going to be doing some guild integration things as well. But let's talk about the long-term roadmap. Post IDO, what are the plans for Infinity Skies, and where do you see Infinity Skies growing to over the course of the next few years here?
Yeah. So the first quarter is gonna be filled with lots of our dApps becoming available, mainly our marketplace, and we'll also be able to distribute some of the NFTs already, like we've been doing our giveaway already actually for these banknotes on a monthly basis. So there's another one of those coming up pretty soon as well. And these will actually, in the first quarter, we'll be able to make these exchangeable for NFTs already, for the proper NFTs that will be able to be used when the game is live. So that's the first quarter. Lots of our dApp ecosystem.
Okay.
Alongside with the land sale being a big thing in the first quarter. Then as we get to the second quarter, the main thing is going to be the alpha launch of our game, where the full version of the game with the adventure, with the with the NFTs in there, with multiplayer in there, voting in there. So essentially our entire game in its earliest playable stage will be then ready and launched. From there, we'll be focusing mostly on optimization and bug fixing, of course, for the first month or two. And then probably in the third quarter, we'll be focusing more on some bigger updates.
Okay.
We'll be adding in, for example, free placement mode to our assets so that you can not only build on a grid, but also freely place objects in any coordinate that you want on your castle island. So that's going to be a pretty big feature as well. We'll at the same time be working a lot on more assets for people to build with, so that we can actually launch our second season probably around the end of this year. And then also we'll be trying to bring out as many trials for the adventure mode as possible, as updates in between. So that's kind of the long-term vision for 2022, and possibly some of that else also in 2023.
Okay.
And then our ultimate vision of Infinity Skies is that not only it becomes a kind of a game where you have the socializing hub and the adventure mode, but where the adventure mode really is not just one game, but actually multiple games that you can embark on from this social hub. That really becomes this kind of metaverse on its own, where all our games in the future you'll be able to engage on those from that social hub.
Okay, perfect. So, a lot on your plate, and
Yeah,
now me
definitely.
and me on the marketing side, I love to hear about all the different roadmap items and the kind of long-term vision about the project, because then I know, okay, this is where the project is going to grow. I start coming up with different ideas to talk about, but obviously for me, it's exciting to talk about, but people want to be able to put the project and put the game actually in their hands. They want to be able to utilize it. So very happy to hear not just about the actual alpha release coming later this year, but also even the idea behind a second season of the game coming next year as well. It's something that a lot of people I know are going to be excited for. As far as gameplay goes, if people want to see kind of some pre-alpha gameplay, is there a place for them to go to be able to see that? Do you have footage on your website, on Twitter? Where would users be able to go for that?
The best thing would be to go to our Twitter or Telegram or Discord. On Discord and Telegram, you can just ask one of our mods. They are super friendly and they will instantly link you to the right place. And we do have a YouTube channel as well, although it's at the moment quite small and we're just have started it up. But our trailer is on there, so you can check that out. All you need to do is look for the Infinity Skies channel there. And the trailer's up there, and also a couple of teasers about the adventure mode.
Okay, perfect. So Twitter, Telegram, if you guys want to see some kind of pre-alpha gameplay, make sure that you are following them on Twitter. Make sure that you join them on Telegram. And with the release of the full alpha coming soon, I imagine there will be even some more teasers being dropped in the build up to that as well. So make sure that you guys are tuned into that as well.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, so that's all the questions that I have for you. I do want to get into some more audience questions. The questions that we have, like I said, they're all going to come from the audience, but for anybody whose question is selected in this portion of the live stream, you are going to be winning some stable coins. I believe we talked about a total of about $250 worth of either USDT or BUSD. So if you guys do want to, if you want to win BUSD, USDT, make sure that you get your questions into the chat now. We will be answering those. Okay. Now, Sander, I do want to make this a little bit interactive here, and I do want to allow you the chance to kind of look through some questions, and if there's any in the chat that stand out to you, then we can make sure that we highlight those audience members. I do have one question that I see here from Ned134D that I want to ask is, what's the dream feature that you would love to see in Infinity Skies? So if there's one thing that over the course of the next few years that you can add into the game, what would it be and why?
That would be pets, actually. We do have some ideas. It's going to be for the distant future, but pets are a really amazing type of NFT because they're interactive. They can follow you around, not just in your own castle, but also in other people's castles. And then we can possibly even think of fun PvP features with them, of course. So that's actually a dream feature. For now, it's on hold because we have much to do and high priorities. But I do really like the idea of that.
Okay, perfect. So Ned, make sure that you do get your Twitter handle into the chat. You are going to be winning some BUSD or USDT. So please provide that Twitter handle as well. Now, Sandra, are there any questions that you see in the chat that you really want to make sure that you highlight? Maybe some things that we haven't necessarily talked too much about on the live stream yet. Is there anything that kind of stands out to you in the chat there?
Let's see.
And if not, then there are some other questions from the chat that I would love to ask as well. So if there's anything that you find, please shout it out. Make sure that you shout out the username, and then we'll make sure that we get their Twitter handle.
Let's see. I don't have the Steam chat open at the moment.
Okay. Well, that is fine. We can look through the chat here and get some questions. Let's see. All right. I have one from Amor here. They ask, how can we contribute the most and be a part of the project as players? So if someone wants to get involved in the ecosystem, they want to maximize the amount of time that they spend in the ecosystem, their participation levels, what would that look like for them, and how would they be able to participate?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah. So the question from Amor, how can we contribute the most and be part of your project as players? So if people want to get the absolute most out of their time, they want to be able to get the most out of their gameplay, what would that look like, and how would users be able to maximize their time in the game?
Right. Well, this question, the way it's phrased, sounds a bit like a more is kind of a grinding type of player that enjoys grinding efficiently for things that are have a monetary value in our case. So I think what you're looking for is our adventure mode. Doing those trials, becoming good at the skill part of that, and making sure that you consistently make it far into that adventure. That will yield you some nice rewards in terms of NFTs that you can then sell off for a nice profit that for people that are more focused on the socializing aspect and kind of social competition. So that's probably for the grinding type of players the most interesting kind of time use. If, however, you're more also a fan of socializing, then definitely you can try competing in the social leaderboards.
Okay, perfect. So, social leaderboards, social interaction. If you want to get the most of your time, make sure that you are tuning into further announcements on adventure mode, especially, and make sure that you are tuning into future announcements about guilds and different social interactions. I know a lot of people they're looking for that one game that they can absolutely grind for hours and hours and hours on. So I appreciate that question, because that tells me it's someone who's interested in finding that game, whether it's for investment purposes or whether it is strictly for gameplay. They want that thing that they can really hold on to right there. All right, Sandra, are there any other questions that you see in the chat that you want to highlight here?
Yeah, I've opened up the chat, but apparently I need to do a browser update. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the live chat for me. So fortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to see questions right now, because I don't want to do browser updates with the chat open.
Oh yeah, totally fine. All right, there's another question from CryptoSlav. They ask, could you tell us more about the utility of skyplots? So how will users be able to utilize their skyplots within the game?
Yeah, the main utility of these skyplots is that they are coordinates on the world map. And these are very important to get visitors to your castle. The closer you are to the center of the world map, the more likely you are to be found by other players. And as such, you'll naturally have a higher amount of visitors that come to your castle. And this then ties into that visitors is what gives you votes in this game. And votes are very important if you want to participate in the social leaderboard aspect of the game, which is where the highest tier rewards are distributed, the highest rarity, the top 3 players, they even gain kingship, which is a share of the revenue that we as a company also gain revenue from. and that's the royalty taxes on every NFT transaction.
Okay.
So that can be insanely lucrative if you want to participate in that leaderboard. And if you want to be high up in that leaderboard, you most likely want one of those land plots.
Yeah, absolutely. You want one of those land plots. You want to be visible on the map, and you want to attract as many people to your castle as possible. Like you talked about with those royalty transactions, especially for the people who are looking to not just maximize their time, but also maximize their earning within the game.
Mm-hmm.
Then making sure that they have that best possible sky plot, they have the best possible castle, they're attracting attention to it. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely vital to make sure that people can maximize their time in the game.
Exactly.
Now, another question that we have from Reminiscent in the chat. They ask, if we want to own / build a castle, but don't necessarily have the time to play the game itself to collect various points and resources, will users be able to rent out their NFTs for others to farm with it? Will they be able to rent out their characters, their sky plots? Are there any plans for that in the future?
Yeah, there's actually a fun way of doing this in our ecosystem.
Okay.
And this you will need to have a land as well for this, because what you can do with a land as well is you can lease these out to another player that can build on top of that sky plot instead of you. And the fun thing about this is that you then of course you can't build on your sky plot yourself, so that's the benefit for the leaser. But every vote accumulated by that sky plot can be yours if you choose to purchase it from the person you're leasing it to. So there's a kind of a win-win situation going on there, in fact, that you don't have to buy these votes, but you can buy these votes if you think you make a chance to make it high up in the leaderboard. And either way, the person leasing from you has a cool sky plot, and they have the possibility to get sky blocks from you if you decide to buy their votes. And otherwise, they get the votes. So it's all win-win.
Okay, perfect. So obviously that is going to be very important within the game here, creating that kind of win-win, not just for players who are looking to absolutely grind at the game, but also for people who, again, might not have a ton of time to be able to interact with the ecosystem, but they want to be involved in some way, shape, or form. So creating that mutually beneficial relationship between either sky plot holders or landowners and people looking to just grind, yeah, it's absolutely super important. So glad to hear there's going to be that kind of mutually beneficial relationship there. Now, we do have time for one more question here, and I do want to ask from 50-something in the chat. Will the skies be filled with creatures? That would be cool if there were various creatures in the sky. Maybe they were NFTs within the game. Are there going to be any plans for something along those lines?
Yeah, so that's kind of part of that dream I spoke about earlier, where pets, I do think they will be amazing. For now, the idea is on hold, but I do think that in the future there will be some form of pets that you can have fly around in your own sky plot, and then also have some of them walking around on your land. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The prospect of not just various sky creatures, but also being able to have pets within the game, it adds something to the ecosystem. It adds
definitely.
It's lighthearted, it's fun, and depending on the animal, I say lighthearted. If it was something like a dog in the ecosystem, like obviously to me being a dog person, that's lighthearted. But if it was like a dragon, maybe not so lighthearted and fun. Maybe a little bit darker, a little bit more dangerous. But the prospect of being able to have pets, various animals in the game, I do love to hear about that. So thank you for sharing. All right, now we took questions from the audience. Obviously, I had some questions for you as well. Before we kind of sign off for the day, is there anything that maybe we didn't get a chance to talk about within the Infinity Skies ecosystem, or any alpha that you are looking to share for users looking to participate in the IDO, looking to get involved through gameplay? Is there anything we didn't talk about during the live stream that you want to be able to share with the community?
Yeah, I think there's some things that I can say more about the token still,
Okay.
the Skyblock token. There are a couple of interesting DeFi aspects that we've added on to our token.
Okay.
We have a claim pool system, so just holding on to the token will earn you more tokens because people that make transactions, they pay a tax, and part of that goes into the claim pool.
Okay.
So that's an interesting mechanic. We'll be having forms of staking and vaulting as well that you can do with your token. And this is actually already going to be live as soon as the token is live. So that's quite nice. That's going to be this month.
Perfect.
Then you can participate in those things. And then also, but this for a more distant future, there's going to be play to earn mechanics where some of that tax that we have on transactions of Skyblocks will also be distributed to people playing the game on a weekly basis, completing weekly tasks, challenges, and stuff like that.
Okay, perfect. Now, for the people who are looking to get involved and they are looking to participate in these weekly tasks, I'm assuming that it'll be pretty easily available to see what those weekly tasks are on a rolling basis, right? Like they won't have to search too hard to find out, okay, in order to maximize my earnings and maximize my time within the game, I'm just completing random challenges. I'm assuming there will be a place for them to go and see that, kind of like a central hub within the game, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. This is just as soon as the game is launched, it will just be visible in the interface there. Like, okay, these are the weekly challenges, the weekly quests.
Okay.
For example, go on X amount of adventures, or go to X amount of castles and do an interaction there. Stuff like that will be the type of quest that you can expect.
Okay, perfect. So having that central hub for users is going to be a gigantic help. And with the questions that we've had a lot in the chat today and the people that I've talked to about the game, that's what they're looking for. Is they're looking for not just, different daily, weekly, monthly challenges, but also, we've talked about this a lot, how can I maximize my time within the game? And how can I get the most out of my experience? So having these different challenges and different tasks that people can actually work towards, it adds something to the game, and it makes it a little, and it makes it very, very interactive, especially with the what's the word I'm looking for? With the variety of different challenges that they'll be able to have, especially as games update, as you guys have that kind of season 2 integration, maybe season 3, season 4, the different challenges that users will be able to have. Yeah, you're going to be providing a lot for different users to be able to interact with the ecosystem, and a lot for users to spend their time working towards. So really appreciate you talking about that right there. Now, I already mentioned this, but before we sign off, we talked a little bit about token utility just now and about different DeFi aspects of it. Is there anything we talked about in the live stream that we didn't get a chance to talk about, or sorry, anything we didn't get a chance to talk about that you want to touch on one last time before we sign off here?
No, I think we're good for now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure there wasn't anything that you were just absolutely itching, dying to talk about that we didn't get a chance to. All right. Now, for the people watching, I already mentioned this at the start of the live stream, but registration does close for the Infinity Skies IDO on Wednesday at 3 p.m. UTC. So if you haven't already, make sure you go to chainboost.io, KYC, register, and make sure that you express interest in the Infinity Skies IDO that will be opening on Thursday at 3 p.m. UTC as well. For any future announcements on Infinity Skies, any initiatives that they start rolling out, especially when the alpha goes live, season 2, we will make sure that we announce that on the ChainBoost official Twitter. So make sure that you're tuned into that. And, down the road here, maybe, just maybe, we'll have Sonder, Mark, somebody from the Infinity Skies team back on, especially when the game goes live. I really want to make sure that we get you back on the ChainBoost socials in some way, either through live stream, Twitter Space. We'll make sure that we have you back on because we're definitely really excited to see the release of the full game and to talk about that much more when it goes live. All right, and then for anybody who won rewards during the live stream, if you haven't already, make sure that you put your Twitter handle in the chat, so that way we can reach out to you after the live stream is over and we can coordinate your rewards. And for any, like I said, for any future announcements, tune into the ChainBoost Twitter. IDO starts on Thursday. Sander, any final words for the community before we sign off here?
Yep. Stay tuned, guys, and hope to see you on the IDO. And yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Good times, guys.
All right, Sander, thank you so much for coming on today. I know that you are a very, very busy person with the IDO this week, so I appreciate you taking the hour out of your time today to come on and talk to the ChainBoost community. So thank you again for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, thanks to you for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back within the next couple of weeks with another live stream, hopefully, so make sure that you are tuned into that. But from all of us at ChainBoost, from Infinity Skies, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を守るため立ち向かうそれは心もやせがやせ隅でまた霞み始めてる決意揺らぎそうでも閉ざされた空その鍵を壊せばそう握られた刃はまだ持て余されて加速する共鳴が言霊を脈打たせてく注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界
ける
憎しみや恨みを生んでしまうのかもしれない正解のない世界に苦しんでそれでも受け止め我らは叫ばなければいけないと心がうついてる思い描いた自由への衝撃僕の意図であろう君の願いであろうそれがダメなこともあれと悔いやくなれることもいつの日か的な信じたのは一輪の花
触れてくれてその特別
あがいてもがいてまみれも読みながらも恋の中にわずか輝くそれをその手に掴み取り勝ち取るためには
また立ち上がる
思い描いた自由への勝利的な僕の血肉となり君の魂となりそれを固めることはあれと悔いやくなれることもいつの日か的な秋さ探せが大輪の花永遠の中で掴んだリだよ注がれた光の